We all know those individuals who, despite having lots of money, remain miserable. Conversely, we also know people who live happy and fulfilled lives without much wealth. What is the reason behind this? The Stoics taught that money is not a true indicator of wealth. But what is? This guide aims to answer these questions. Stay with us until the end so you don't miss any important information or key points that can help you improve step by step. Epictetus, once a slave and later a revered teacher, enjoyed recounting a story with his students about a man offered a highly lucrative position by Emperor Augustus. Epictetus explained, "I advised him against it." The man responded, "But I will make a lot of money." Epictetus replied, "Yes, for little in return." The man persisted, "A lot of people will learn my name." Epictetus retorted, "Are you planning to be there every time someone utters your name?" The man argued, "My name will outlive me." Epictetus responded, "So will a rock you carve your name into." The man added, "I will get to wear a gold crown." Epictetus concluded, "And they will put a crown made of roses on you for your funeral. You will look even more elegant in that." The man saw the sum of money, but failed to see that a sum of money poorly reflects true value. As Epictetus often asked his students, what decides whether a sum of money is good? The money is not going to tell you. Money cannot reveal all that must be sacrificed to gain it. It won't inform us that a less paying job might bring more happiness. It doesn't account for the losses accompanying the gains. In one of his letters to Lucilius, Seneca highlights a striking observation. Look at any millionaire and you'll see some of the poorest people in Rome. Their wealth has made them slaves to public opinion, controlled their schedules and decisions, surrounded them with sycophants and grifters, and escalated their tastes and expectations to insatiable levels. Seneca writes, "These individuals have riches just as we say that we have a fever, when really the fever has us. It's a sad sight," he says. What's even sadder is that this observation remains true today. Many wealthy individuals live impoverished lives, constantly preoccupied with money. They obsess over acquiring more, over trading parts of their life for it, and over comparing their wealth to others. These individuals believe they have a lot of money, but in reality, money has a firm hold on them. Seneca remarks, "Money never made a man rich." Do you ask the reason for this? He who possesses more begins to be able to possess still more. This is a universal human struggle. Regardless of the number in our bank account, it is difficult to turn off the brain's incessant desire for more. Until we can do so and develop a sense of what is enough, we remain poorer than the poorest people in Rome. Seneca writes, "He who has enough has attained that which never fell to the rich man's lot, a stopping point." Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Ramit Sethi, the best-selling author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, has devoted his work to guiding people toward what he calls the rich life. Contrary to what the title might suggest, Sethi's concept of rich extends far beyond financial wealth. It's a comprehensive philosophy centered on living a fulfilling and well-rounded life. Sethi's discussions cover a wide array of topics, including entrepreneurship, spending, investing, social skills, fitness, psychology, and productivity. These interconnected elements collectively contribute to a well-lived life. A crucial aspect of Sethi's philosophy is the idea that the rich life is highly individualized and varies significantly from one person to another. During an interview, Sethi shared an illustrative example. "I have a friend who always has fresh flowers throughout her tiny New York apartment. They look amazing. When I asked her how she keeps up and maintains all these fresh flowers despite her busy full-time job, she told me that she spends the equivalent of a cable bill every month to surround herself with beautiful artisanal flowers that are delivered to her house every week on just flowers." This example embodies the essence of living a rich life. If flowers bring joy and a sense of beauty to her home, she doesn't reserve them for special occasions. Instead, she ensures they are a constant presence in her life. In contrast, Sethi's own version of a rich life is quite different. For him, it means never having to step into a Home Depot. This underscores the core message. Everyone's definition of wealth and a rich life is different. We live in a society inundated with messages about what a rich life should look like. Lavish vacations, designer clothes, expensive cars, and luxurious homes. These messages suggest that accumulating more money, possessions, and status is the pathway to happiness and fulfillment. However, the truth is, the rich life means something different for everyone. What makes one person feel rich may not do the same for another. This is why it's essential to figure out your definition of the rich life. Seneca once said, "If you don't regard what you have as enough, you will never be happy, even if you rule the entire world." Seneca expressed that true poverty lies in desiring more than one possesses. He challenges us to consider those who crave the finest luxuries, gilded furniture, ancient silverware, a retinue of servants, and jewelry from around the globe. Seneca writes, "Though he should pile up all of these, never will they satisfy his insatiable mind. This is not a thirst, but a sickness, and it is not merely money or food that leads to this result. The same nature is to be found in every desire that derives not from need, but from vice. All that you pile up to satisfy it will not terminate, but advance desire." Material wealth, ironically, is a moving target. One might believe that having a certain amount will be sufficient, only to find that more is always better, and even more is preferable. Seneca further notes, "Prosperity is a restless thing. It drives itself to distraction. It addles the brain, and not always in the same way, or it goads people in different directions, some toward power, others toward self-indulgence. Some are puffed up by it, others unmanned and made entirely feeble. Observe any millionaire striving to become a billionaire, or any billionaire who anxiously monitors the Forbes list, envying those ranked higher. This pursuit of wealth rarely instills a sense of enough, but instead fuels an ever-increasing appetite for more. This endless chase leads to mental and emotional bankruptcy, if not financial ruin. It's a hedonic treadmill that eventually collapses or destroys the one frantically running on it. The Stoics advise us to avoid getting on this treadmill, or to step off it while we still can. Ryan Holiday, in Stillness is the Key, recounts a tale of authors Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller at a lavish New York party. Vonnegut asked Heller how it felt knowing their billionaire host made more money in a day than Heller's novel earned in its lifetime. Heller responded, "I've got something he can never have." When asked what that was, Heller replied, "The knowledge that I've got enough." Understanding what is enough and living in a state of contentment rather than constant craving is what the Stoics define as true wealth. This mindset leads to a life of genuine abundance. Seneca once said, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" When Benjamin Franklin was 18, he requested a loan from his father to start a printing business, but his father refused. Franklin saved up and eventually founded the Pennsylvania Gazette. The business initially did well, but eventually faced financial difficulties. During this tough period, Franklin received a lucrative offer from a customer who wanted to publish a piece in the Gazette. This piece, however, was described by Franklin as scurrilous and defamatory and completely against his principles. With a newborn son and financial pressures, Franklin agonized over the decision. Publishing the piece seemed a practical choice to secure financial stability for his family. However, Franklin feared poverty deeply and grappled with the moral implications of compromising his integrity for money. To decide, Franklin channeled his inner Seneca by experimenting with living in poverty. He restricted his diet to bread and water and slept on the floor wrapped in a coat for a few nights. This exercise helped him realize that he could endure such a lifestyle without significant inconvenience. He concluded, "From this regimen I feel no inconvenience whatever. Finding I can live in this manner, I have formed a determination never to prostitute my press to the purposes of corruption and abuse of this kind for the sake of gaining a more comfortable subsistence." Many of us, much like Franklin, find ourselves taking jobs we dislike and making compromises we regret for financial security. This is why people stay in unfulfilling jobs, work in stressful environments, or take positions contrary to their beliefs. Tim Ferriss, in an interview with the Daily Stoic, shared a similar practice. He fasts for 3 days each month to acquaint himself with the sensation of real hunger. A wealthy CEO friend of his also practices a form of poverty experiment by living on minimal means for a week every quarter. These practices remind them that they can thrive with very little, helping them make decisions without fear. Ferriss said, "At the end of such an experiment, people will very often be in a better mental state and feel more content than they did beforehand. It's very freeing." The purpose of these experiments is not to diminish ambition, but to foster resilience and clarity. Elite performers often engage in these practices and find themselves becoming stronger and more focused. As Seneca wrote, "Freedom is the prize we are working for." True freedom allows us to make decisions based on our values, spend time with those we care about, pursue our interests, and leave situations that cause us distress. This freedom comes, Seneca noted, once we learn how far poverty is from being a burden. Shielded with these thoughts, one can make a small step toward a wealthier life. Rise your motivation and start your journey towards mastering yourself. If you want to know how can you ignite and sustain your own motivation on this path, and what are the 5 valuable allies that help fuel our motivation, visit our previous video. The link is on the screen. Thank you for joining us on this Stoic journey. Until next time, may these practices transform your mornings, your days, and ultimately, your life.